So here we go. Number 1. It's really easy to do. You just got to recognize that there's 2 sides to every equation. Like I said, if it helps you out, go ahead and draw that little squiggly line separating the left side of the equal sign from the right side of the equal sign. If it helps you, you don't have to, right? You want to get x by itself on the left side. So it has a negative 3 and it has a negative 19. Which one do we get rid of first? Negative 19. Okay, so how do we get rid of it? The opposite, adding 19. Good. So what you do to one side, it's off balance. You do to the other side. Okay, so that cancels out. Let me rewrite what I have left. I have a negative 3x on the left side. The equal sign comes down. And 17 plus 19, that is 36. Yes. Thank you. And this last step, you got to recognize what's happening between the negative 3 and the x. That's multiplication. And that's how you get rid of something. You do the opposite. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So you're going to divide, I put a division bar, by negative 3, by that same exact value. Again, if this were a positive 3, you would divide by a positive 3. If it's a negative 3, divide by a negative 3. If it's a 7, divide by 7. If it's a happy face, divide by happy face, right? It has to be the same exact thing when you're dividing in order for it to cancel out. And not only that, to maintain the balance, what you do to one side, you do to the other, you're going to divide over here by negative 3 as well. So the negative 3's cancel. The x comes down, the equal sign comes down, and 36 divided by negative 3 is negative 12. It is negative. We have to remember the rules of multiplying and dividing. A negative times a negative equals a positive. In this case, a positive divided by a negative equals a negative. Or you could think of the situation, something good happens to a bad person, that's bad, right? Anyway, moving on. Number 2. That was too easy. Number 2 is a little more fun because it has a fraction in it. We have x, we have the division, we have 5, we have plus 6, we have equals 2. So what do? You want to get rid of the 6, so you're going to go minus 6. That'll cancel it out. Minus 6. So what do we have left? X over 5 equals negative 4. Again, just because I said minus 6 doesn't mean I'm actually going to be subtracting, right? You have to think about the signs that are in front. This is a positive 2. That means I have $2. Negative 6, I owe $6. That means I'm going to owe $4, right? So when I go 2 take away 6, I get the negative 4. Okay, anyways, I still need to finish this thing. I need to get rid of this time, or divided by 5 by doing the opposite, which is multiplying by 5. So we're going to multiply by 5 here. And notice that I did that multiplication of 5 up on top. Don't write it on the bottom, write it up on top. Because we know that 5 over 5 cancels out. And of course, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other, multiply by 5 over here. So 5's cancel. X comes down, equals comes down, negative 20 comes down. Okay? Now, I do want to take a moment here and show you an alternate way of doing it, but it's not as good. Like, let me rewrite this one. So you could get rid of, right from the start, you could get rid of the fraction right from the start. Do I recommend it? No. All right, but you could get rid of the fraction right from the start. So how do you do that? You multiply everything by the denominator of the fraction that you want to get rid of. So what's the denominator on that fraction? 5, right? So you want to get rid of this fraction. Let's multiply everything by the denominator 5. So check it out. I want to put a times 5 right here, but I have a 6 here that I did not move. Remember, you're supposed to move the 6 first, but I'm going to multiply it by 5 and multiply it by 5. So the 5's cancel. The x comes down. This becomes plus 30. This becomes equals 10. So what we did was we got rid of the fraction right from the start. Yeah? Would I do this? Nah, I would stick to the original. Get rid of the bum at the corner first. But we still get this answer, negative 20. And if we did get rid of the fraction first and we kept solving, we'd still get the same exact answer, negative 20. Check it out. Minus 30 cancels. Minus 30. You're going to bring down the x, bring down the equal sign. Positive 10, take away 30, that's negative 20. So you get the same exact answer as we did over here, right? It's just done a little differently. So some people like it. Some people like this method of getting rid of the fraction because they just hate seeing fractions. But I mean, honestly, this method, this method over here, I think is the easiest. Because how hard is it to get rid of the plus 6? Oh, minus 6. What you do to one side, do to the other side. You have a negative 4. Then multiply by 5, multiply by 5. I think this is the easiest method. So you're probably thinking, then why did you explain to us the other method? Well, because we will be having other questions that have many fractions in it, and it'll be a good idea to multiply everything by the denominator of the fraction that you want to get rid of. So right here on number 3, you can, if you wanted to, multiply everything by 8, right? You could multiply this by 8, but what would you get? You'd get 64. Right here, you'd multiply by 8, it would cancel out, you get a negative 3x. Right here, you multiply by 8, you get 30. You get bigger numbers, right? So why do you want to deal with bigger numbers? Let's do what we normally do. Here's the movie star. Here's the movie star's buddy. This is the bum at the corner. Let's get rid of that guy. So what do? Negative 8. You know what? Just for kicks, on the last one, I didn't put the wall and I got kind of unorganized, so I wanted to put the wall there. Okay, so on this one, we're going to go negative 8 to get rid of the 8. It's going to cancel. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. I'm going to rewrite this thing. I have a negative 3/8 x that comes down. I have the equal sign that comes down. And if you owe 4 and you owe 8, you're going to owe 12. Negative 12. That's right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our new equation right here. How do you get rid of that fraction? You do the opposite of dividing by 8. And what is the opposite of dividing by 8? Multiplying by 8. So we're going to go times 8. Now, and of course, what you do to one side, you do to the other, times 8. So the 8's cancel, and what's left over? The negative 3x. That's what comes down. The equal sign comes down, and negative 12 times 8 is negative 96. Thank you. So our final step here would be to get rid of the multiplication of negative 3. So you're going to do the opposite, divide by negative 3. That'll cancel it out. Divide by negative 3. So your final answer is x equals 32. And it is positive. Why? Because we have a negative 96 divided by a negative 3. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. Number 4, it's easy. It looks confusing, but it's not. Because it's really just one single fraction equaling a number. And if you want to get rid of a fraction, what do? Multiply times the denominator. So let's go times 5 and times 5. Notice that I wrote the 5 up on top because 5 over 5 cancels out. So I really have 3x minus 7 equals 80. And you keep going. You get rid of the bum at the corner by doing the opposite of minus 7 plus 7. What you do to one side, do to the other side. Rewrite. What do you have left? You have the 3x left equals 87. So for my final step, I am going to divide both sides by 3. That'll cancel. X equals 29. So, be ready for those types of questions. Let's check out this next fun one right here. Find 3 consecutive integers whose sum is 222. So we need to create an equation. Guessing and checking is not that great. So let's first, before we even jump into creating that equation, let's talk about what a consecutive integer, consecutive even integer is. So let's just make a list of numbers here. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so let's say that this guy is my first even, right? But let's pretend that we don't know that it's 2. So you could say that it's just a number, right? Just the number x, just the number n. Now, the next even number, how far is it going to be from 2? It's not going to be 1, it's actually going to be 2, right? So this guy right here is going to be that same number x, which in this case you could clearly see is 2, but plus 2, right? So you go plus 2 to represent that second even number. Now, if you want to represent the third consecutive even number, what's that going to be in terms of x plus something? Anybody?
Plus 4.
There you go. X plus 4. Yeah? You guys understand that? Now, this x plus 2, this x plus 4, works for any consecutive even numbers. Okay? Like you could be talking about 18, right? If x is 18, then the next even number, 19, 20, is going to be 18 plus 2. Then the next even number, 21, 22, is going to be 18 plus 4. Are you guys understanding what I'm explaining?
You mean x?
Yeah, I'm saying that x plus 2, and x plus 4 represents any consecutive even numbers. Yeah? Okay, so they want us up here to find 3 consecutive even numbers whose sum is 222. So the thing is, what does sum mean? Add. So you're going to add one number plus another number plus another number, and the answer is going to be 222. Do I know that first number?
Nope.
No, so what do I call it?
X.
X. Now, whatever even number it is, it could be 18, it could be 28, it could be 36, I don't know. But whatever that even number is, the next consecutive even number is going to be what? X plus 2, that's right. And the next consecutive even number is going to be what? X plus 4. It's going to be that original number, but plus 4. That's right. So what do we have here, guys? We have an equation, all right? Let me actually delete this. And let's start solving. By the way, normally I would put these guys in parentheses right here, but there's going to be nothing to distribute, so that's why I don't even bother with the parentheses. If you actually had a number outside of the parentheses, yeah, you'd have to distribute. So you don't even need the parentheses in this case. So let's start combining like terms. So on the left side of the equal sign over here, is there anything that we could do to make it simpler? In other words, could we simplify to make it nicer? Like I said, there's no distributed property, but there is what?
Like terms.
Combine like terms. So let's combine the x's with the x's. I have one x, another positive x, and another positive x. That's a total of 3 positive x's. And then I have the number 2 with the number 4. What's 2 plus 4? 6. So I have a positive 6. And then, of course, bring down the equal sign and bring down the answer, 222. And now we're going to just solve this equation like we normally would. Subtract 6, going to cancel. Subtract 6. You're going to end up with 3x equals 218? 16. Whoops. There you go. Math teacher can't subtract. Sorry. So anyways, for our final step, we'd have to do what? Divide by 3. So we're going to divide by 3 here, divide by 3 here. If you don't have a calculator, you're probably going to have to do long division. So you're going to have 216 divided by 3. 3 goes into 21 7 times. Remainder of 0, bring down the 6. 3 goes into 6 2 times. So we have an answer, but we need all 3 numbers because it says find 3 consecutive even integers. So what are the 3 consecutive even integers? Anybody? 72, 74, 76. Those are the 3 consecutive even numbers who combine together, add up, who sum up to be 222.